special place in my heart for discus throwers. It sounds weird. I know it sounds weird. Get over it. Don't judge me. I have a special place in my heart for discus throwers, especially those discus throwers able to win state titles. The reason being, and I know all of you are wondering, why I would have a special place in my heart for such a niche sport. My father won 2 state discus titles when he was a track and field athlete at Commerce High School, competing in the same venue that the young man sitting to my right competed in this past weekend when he won the Class 5A discus title with a throw of 163 feet, 5 inches, a mark that proved best in class by almost a foot over his nearest competition. I am talking about Gainesville track and field star, Gainesville football star, Colton Quinones. Did I say it right? Did I get it right?
Yeah, you got it right.
Ah, that's awesome. That's awesome, because I just learned how to say his last name. I've been saying Quinones and not really putting my full effort behind the last name. And that was not very cool of me. Pleasure to have you here. Pleasure to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I mentioned to you that I've heard your name a lot because of football. Didn't quite know that you had the prowess you had, though, in track and field. That's a mighty good throw, young man, and I know that you were motivated by the fact that you didn't win a state title last year. Talk about the work between last year and this year to get you that state title.
Between last year and this year, I really had to push myself as hard as I could push myself, because last year really left a big scar in me because I thought I was going to take it, and then it was just taken away from me. Over the summer, I had football workouts, and then right after football, I would go into the pit and throw. So I would put in summer, and then after football season, I instantly just jumped in the pit and started working on my discus because I was really wanting to win that state championship this year, because it was just such a bad moment for me last year, not even getting on the podium.
Yeah.
And then ended up on the top.
Quite focused this young man was over the course of the offseason. It paid off for him again with a Class 5A discus title. We've had a few state track and field champions in over the course of the last 2 weeks with girls, and then we had Mason Hamrick from Jefferson in last evening. And I've asked them all this same question, and everybody has a different answer. They express it differently. Knowing what you went through last year, when you won the state title this year, and you weren't just on the podium, you were in that first place spot on the podium. Now, he's grinning from ear to ear. You're blinding me with the whites. You're blinding me with it. What was that moment like for you?
It was spectacular. At the moment, it felt surreal. It felt like I wasn't even there. It felt like a dream. And then I was getting all these pictures taken at the Jefferson Stadium on the first place podium. Something I really wanted to do last year, but like I said, it got taken away. And then this year, being on that podium at the number 1 spot, it was just like, this is mine. This is what I've worked for this whole season, what I've been wanting to work for, and it came true.
How did it compare? Did it compare to winning Gainesville's first ever state football title?
They're about the same because, I mean, as an individual winning state, it's really, it's a big accomplishment. And then in football, winning that mark, and then it's being a team effort, and then being the first state title that Gainesville's had in history is just really remarkable. But also winning a state title as an individual in track is just something else. It's remarkable as well. I mean, they compare, but then they contrast. So, I mean, it's a really good feeling.
Well put, Colton. I wish that you all, I'm going to give you a visual of what Colton Quinones looks like sitting next to me. First of all, he's blinged out. Is that your state title ring?
Yeah, this is my football state championship ring.
I mean, you could put a hurting on somebody with that sucker. It's huge. That is unbelievable. But he's also got on his state track and field champion hat, GHSA, and then GHSA track and field champions T-shirt. This boy is blinged out with success, and I, for one, greatly appreciate it. Talk about your season as a whole quickly, Colton. Now, clearly you were motivated by not winning last year to win this year. But did you get the feeling this year was going to be a little different for you as the season went on?
Yes.
Yeah.
The very first meet I did, because the very first meet, aside from state for me in track, there was also another goal that I wanted to hit, and that was breaking the school record for Gainesville, which I did my very first meet. I broke it by 10 feet.
That's unbelievable.
It was a 147 throw, and then my first throw, I threw a 157, and that was really good, and it really felt good.
Yeah, but it did. Do you know who held the record before you?
Sydney Allred.
Look at you going through the record book. That's fantastic.
Thanks.
Yeah, that really is. That's uber cool. And then, of course, you do well in regionals, do well in sectionals, get yourself to the state meet. The atmosphere at Jefferson, pretty darn cool, isn't it?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
When I walked in I was there last year, and I didn't think I was going to be as nervous, but I knew I had the butterflies, and then walking in there, it just felt like I was in the Olympics, like the atmosphere, how they had everything set up.
Yeah.
How they had 2 pits for everything. And, it was just a really good atmosphere.
Yeah, Jefferson does a great job, and we talked about this last night with Mason Hamrick, who is one of their track and field athletes. They just do an incredible job with the Georgia Olympics year in and year out. And I've got to say, for all of you out there listening, if you have never been to the Georgia Olympics, just solely for the athletics that you will see there, you gotta go. You absolutely have to go. And yeah, I'm talking about folks like Colton Quinones, but I'm also talking about Nick Chubb and a Mason Hamrick and the pole vault. And it is just an unbelievable atmosphere. I want to wrap up with you, Colton, at least this segment, by asking you about this past football season, your senior year. How bittersweet is that? Your last time putting on the uniform and playing with a guy like DeShaun Watson. What was this season like for you?
The season was really good. I felt like just playing with him, being on the same field as him was a blessing. Playing the people, the teammates that we had, the support from all the Gainesville community was really great, and I thank him for that. It was just, I don't think a team could be as good as they are without support. And just having that much support that we had going to every game and all the seats be completely filled out. Just a very good atmosphere for Gainesville athletes to be playing, and it's just really, really good feeling.
Your parents pretty proud of you?
Oh, they're really proud.
They should be.
Yeah.
And not because of your athletic accomplishments. Listen, people do that, right? Yeah. Not because of your athletic accomplishments. You're a very well-spoken young man. You're clearly intelligent. You make good grades?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. You just seem to have a lot going for you, especially with that big blingy ring on. Will you stick around with us for another segment? Will you do that?
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit about the future, a little bit more about DeShaun Watson,
of course,
and those kinds of things. All right, folks. When we come back to Game On, we're going to continue our conversation with GHS track and field star and football star, folks, and football star. If you listen to 1240 ESPN Radio on Friday nights, this is a name you heard a lot. Colton Quinones, making tackles, doing it all for the Red Elephant defense. This is Game On. I'm Katie B, folks. I hope you come back and join us. We're going to continue our conversation with Colton just after this news break on WDUN.
This is North Georgia's News Talk.
WDUN. Gotta get up. Listen to me. Clap your hands. Stomp your feet.
Colton Quinones still in studio with us as we continue this Thursday edition of Game On. I'm very proud that I'm getting your last name right, so I'm saying it as often as I possibly can. And hopefully I don't royally screw it up between now and when he exits stage left. Because that would be embarrassing, not just for me, but for he and his mother sitting here to my right. Gainesville is, and I'm not telling any listener out there anything you don't already know, whether you are in Hall County or White County or Dawson County or Lumpkin County. Gainesville is a cyclical place. And what I mean by that is mothers and fathers meet there and then get married and have children who go there. And those the mother and father, their parents went there. And that speaks to the tradition of the school and how generation after generation wants to be involved in that tradition. And Colton knows this very, very well. And so correct me if I'm wrong about any of this. Your mother went to Gainesville. Mm-hmm. What's her name? Because she's sitting over here.
Joy Bethel, but maiden name is Joy McFarland.
There we go. So she went to Gainesville. Who else in your family went to Gainesville and played sports?
My oldest brother, he went there.
Mm-hmm.
My second oldest, he went there. My grandfather went there.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother went there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So you see what I'm talking about, folks. Like, it's just this, it gets in your blood, doesn't it, Colton?
Oh, yeah. It really does.
Did you know from a young age that was, did you always want to be a red elephant?
I didn't really know what a red elephant was.
Who does know what a red elephant is? Let's be honest.
I went to my first football game, and I found out what it meant to be a red elephant for the first time, and it felt great. And ever since then, I just felt like, oh, this is where I should be.
How old were you?
I was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
So I was around 14.
I know this seems like strange conversation, folks, but it's important to know what Gainesville High School means to people. And, of course, it means a lot to me. I went there and had great experiences there. But this isn't a story that's isolated to Gainesville High School. I mean, this is how it is at North Hall. Parents, grandparents, children go there. This is how it is at East Hall. Parents, grandparents, children go there. This is how it is at West Hall. This is how it is at Johnson. This is how it is at Lumpkin County. And I think that instead of making jokes about it, we should be very proud of that. And when I hear Colton talk about his school, even though he is ready to graduate, but he's not going to lie about that to anybody. He's very proud of having been come May 23rd, a red elephant. Do you feel proud of what you have accomplished in your 4 years at Gainesville?
Oh, yeah, I really do. It's just graduating, knowing the things that I've done and what people have to live up to and expectations going to that school, because their expectations are really high.
Yeah.
And they expect the best out of us. Just knowing that you have to fulfill those expectations and then carry those expectations to a college. Mm-hmm. And then representing Gainesville Red Elephants at another college in a different state.
And do you feel like you're always going to be representing the school?
Yeah.
And you want that, though. You want that responsibility.
Of course. It's just really good to know that I'm always going to be a red elephant. And when people ask you, where'd you graduate from? What high school did you attend? Oh, I went to Gainesville. And they're like, oh, I know that place.
Yeah. Do you know why they do, though? Because they're named the Red Elephant. Let's be honest. We mentioned last segment, Colton, you're a pretty smart dude. And if you can't tell, folks, by his use of the English language, because he is using some pretty big words and doing it fluidly, to say the least. What's your favorite subject in school?
Math
really?
And science.
What is with you people? Well, Brian, we've had one person come in here and say they liked language arts or literature. One.
We got one lunch, I believe.
I think that was me. I'm pretty sure that was me, Brian. Math and science. So you've got that brain.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what does the future hold? What happens after May 23rd, Colton?
I'm going to be attending Limestone and Gaffney, South Carolina on a football scholarship. And hopefully I'll fit in track as well. Because I talked to the track coach. He said that their mark was like 140 or 150. And I surpassed it my first meet. So
yeah, you did.
I can hopefully get both sports in to that one school and see what goes out of there. And I'm a major in athletic training and minor in chemistry and also minor in Spanish.
Really?
Yeah.
And you just got it all laid out.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to do, and I'm going to stick to it.
All right, so what job do you want?
I want to be an athletic trainer.
Okay, so this question gets asked a lot, and there's been one that's been honest with me about why they want to do the job they want to do. There's been one person that's been honest, and he was on last night. It was Mason Hamrick. Why do you want to be an athletic trainer?
Because knowing as a football player, if hopefully I I can make it to the NFL. But if I don't, then I can help others who go through the injuries that people go through on a daily basis and just wonder in their head, oh, why is this happening? What's wrong with me? Then I'll be the one to tell them, oh, you have a torn rotator cuff or you have a torn ACL or MCL or something along those lines. And they can quickly do something about it before it enters a severe state and take away their athletic abilities, which is, as an athlete, is the worst thing that could ever happen to you. I
agree. And I appreciate your honesty and candor just then, but I will say, last night Mason Hamrick said that he wanted to be a civil engineer. He said he wanted to be a civil engineer, and I asked him, why do you want to be a civil engineer? And he said, for the money. And I applauded him because at least he was honest. But Colton was honest in that answer, and that's a heartfelt answer, and I appreciate that. We've had a few people say they want to work for the CDC to cure disease and things of that nature. So I feel like you were honest in that answer. What makes you want to play football at the next level?
The level of competition, I would say. The atmosphere gets bigger. The competition gets harder. Mm-hmm. As an athlete, you grow even better and better than you did the day before. You get bigger, you get stronger, you get mentally tougher, you get physically tougher. It just regenerates you. It makes you want to do better than what you did in high school.
Yeah, so everything about the sport pretty much is what makes you want to do it at the next level. What have you learned under the tutelage of a Bruce Miller, under the tutelage of a Jim Pavo? What have you learned that you're gonna carry with you, and more importantly, that's gonna make you be the best that you can be at the next level?
As a Red Elephant, playing defense, being coached by Jim Pavo, the one thing I know that I have to do is work. Mm-hmm. Work on a daily basis, no matter how hard it is, how easy it is, how long it's going to take. Just finish everything I started. Finish the drills, the sign that we have on our track. And we always look at that and just like, oh, let's do it, finish the drill. And just knowing that I'm going to have to work even more in the next level is just what I'm going to have to do.
But you're excited about it.
Yes, I'm very excited.
At the break, I asked Colton what day graduation was, and he said May 23rd. And my follow-up question, because there's always a follow-up question on Game On, even during the breaks, was, are you excited? And he's been on a pretty even keel during this interview. You all would agree with me, listening land, correct? He's been on a pretty even keel. You should have heard him answer the question, are you excited about graduation? He lit up like that ring he's got on his right hand. It was unbelievable to see. What do you want your last summer as a non-adult? And when you get to college, sorry, buddy, it's the big A word for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
What do you want your last summer as a non-adult to look like? What do you plan to do?
I want to have fun this summer. Yeah. I got to do my workout manual for Limestone, but I also want to have fun and relax, go on some beach vacations, do that kind of stuff and just chill.
Well, you deserve to celebrate everything you've done in high school. I truly, truly mean that. You deserve to celebrate it. I want to ask you one final question before we let you go, Colton, and it's this. You played with DeShaun Watson for 4 years at Gainesville High School. Do you see any way that he doesn't succeed at Clemson?
I do not. Yeah. I feel like he'll succeed very well at Clemson. He deserves to be there. All the accomplishments he's done at Gainesville, all the work he's put in at Gainesville, he deserves to be where he's at right now.
It's interesting that you mention all the work he did. Humble young man, right?
Very humble.
And worked very hard, right?
He did.
Do you see him being a starting quarterback in the ACC?
I see it.
Yeah.
But like I said, he's got to work as hard as he possibly can in order to get that. Because as an athlete, it doesn't matter how big you are. Nothing's promised for you, especially for a starting position. He knows he's going to work for it, and I know he will work for it. And I'm hoping he'll attain it because he deserves it.
That's fantastic. Colton Quinones, folks. I got to say that last name one more time. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you in studio with me. Like I mentioned to you when you first came walking in here, I've heard your name a whole lot, but I've never gotten to see your face. It's always been covered up by a face mask and a big old helmet. So I'm very happy I finally got to meet you. I'm very happy I finally got to meet your mother and hear a little bit about your family, but more importantly, hear about you. You're a stellar young man, and stories like that can't get told when you're just listening to a football broadcast. And so I'm glad that we got to tell it a little bit on this Thursday edition of Game On. Best of luck to you in the future. You're welcome back in this studio anytime, and I hope you'll take me up on that.
Oh, well, thank you.
And congratulations on the state title, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, folks, it's 46 minutes after 7 o'clock. We're going to wrap up the Thursday edition of Game On, your nightly dose of sports talk on North Georgia's News Talk. When we return right after this short break, why don't you return to WDUN?